So when we look at what's happening, I mean, my study is often of what's going on economically, and I look at an overarching economic picture. I deal with, and my goal is always to educate investors, because I still believe real estate is something that we want to take on as investors, as creating a financial future and investing in real estate the right way. So, we, for example, we're not big fans of pre-construction. We're definitely not big fans of buying with the only exit strategy being assignments. We're long-term buy and hold, is generally the strategy, with some tactics that accommodate certain cycles, real estate cycles, if you will. Having said all that, I look at the economic fundamentals, and I'm looking at Canada right now. Everybody's worried about recession. Is it going to be soft? Is it going to be hard? What is it going to be? I'm looking at it going, I don't see a recession coming yet. There's not big announcements of job layoffs. Our productivity has never been great. It's always been kind of embarrassingly poor. We spend no money.
Really, really bad. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. We spend no money on research and development. Yep. And right now we continue to be short in the world of employment. I saw recently, I think it was just yesterday or today, I see RBC saying unemployment could hit 6.6%. I would go, I said to myself, having been through many cycles in Alberta, where I'm going, that's perfect. That's actually an awesome.
That's a great number.
That's a great number. If only we could be there, we could control costs, we'd have staff, we'd have better teams, people would be happier to work. I mean, it'd be just a better thing. So when I look into the future, and I'm very clear that yes, recessions can happen, and I'm looking and watching what's unfolding in front of us. But here's my question around this for you, Ron, is that, from when we look at Canada right now and we start to see that the housing issue is, from my perspective, we bought into this, or drinking this Kool-Aid, or many are, I know that you're not, but many are drinking the Kool-Aid that the government's going to fix this problem. My most recent realization and tweet is that my new definition of insanity is believing the cause of the problem, being our government, is going to also be the solution to the problem that they caused in our housing market. And that is just being naive. So when I look at what's happening in the housing market, we've got this crazy immigration. We've got the Bank of Canada that does some saber rattling that says, well, we're ready to raise rates. I go bullshit, and I just don't buy it.
Definitely bullshit. Yes.
Yes. So then I look at it and I go, okay, we are a debt-driven economy, as is the U.S. But let's just talk about Canada. We're a debt-driven economy. Our GDP is primarily driven by our government taking on more debt. I don't see I don't see how the picture can change. And if there's going to be a recession, it's going to be a catastrophic meltdown in the financial system. That's just a kind of a really high level kind of opening to whatever conversation or whatever direction you might want to take that. Do you have any thoughts around that, Ron?
Well, if you read Ray Dalio, who wrote about this nearly 3, maybe 4 years ago now, Big Debt Crisis, his book Big Debt Crisis, I mean, he foresaw this kind of unmanageable debt that grows throughout the world. If you talk to some economists, they will come up with something that tell you is modern monetary theory, where it doesn't matter how much debt you get into. You can just keep on piling on debt forever as long as certain circumstances are in place. Well, I'm not a big believer in that. The good news is I'm probably not going to live to see something like a big debt crisis, because I'm old and I weigh 330 pounds. So I take 16 pills a day. So the chances of me making it to the big debt crisis is probably slim. But the truth is, this whole idea that the government can spend eternally. One of the big shocks that came to me I think it was about 10 days ago, you and I probably both saw the news, that the fastest growing sector in Canada were public employees.
Oh, don't even get
burgeoning sector, the most burgeoning sector. By the way, there's a lot, public employees also contain a lot of really important people, like nurses and doctors and
firefighters
and teachers and really important people. I'm not so sure that we need all the people who work for CRA. Now, there's probably some great people there and probably some needed people there, but here's an interesting stat. In the United States, they call it the IRS. Their CRA is called the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
On a per capita basis, the IRS in the United States collects all the taxes they seem to need to collect with a ratio of 1 to 5 versus CRA employees. That's right. They have 5 times fewer employees per capita than we do at CRA in Canada. Now, there's a few other little reasons for that, like our CRA people do a lot of things with excise tax and import-export duties and stuff. Guys in the States don't do at IRS. But still, it's shocking. It's shocking some of the departments that have ballooned out in size in the federal government. And that was, to me, a very telling stat that the fastest growing employment group in Canada are people working for some form of government. And the slowest growth was in self-employment. To me, that's a tough stat to swallow. I mean, that's, we need people who want to invent things and develop things and create something new and create employment. The trouble with government employment is that you and I are the people who are actually funding it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like when you're talking about a self-employed person who gets out of bed and starts with nothing, then that woman is somebody who is creating employment, building a business, and actually making a huge contribution. I'm not suggesting doctors and nurses and teachers don't make a big contribution, but at the end of the day, the spark of people who start from nothing and make something is one of the most important things we can have in society. And we don't have enough of them.